You felt it during Ramadan, didn't you? Something inside you shifted in a way you couldn't fully explain. Your nights were calmer. Your heart felt lighter. Your mind was clearer. You woke up before dawn with purpose, not because you had to, but because something inside you wanted to. You opened the Quran more than your phone. You guarded your tongue more carefully. You walked through your days with a quiet awareness that Allah was watching you. For a brief moment in your life, the noise of the world faded and your soul felt awake. But now Ramadan is ending and a question is quietly approaching you. What happens next? Because the truth many people never talk about is that Ramadan was never the final destination. Ramadan was only the training ground. The real test begins after Ramadan. During those 30 days, everything around you was designed to help you succeed. The atmosphere was different. The nights were alive with prayer. The mosques were full. The reminders were everywhere. Even the smallest good deed felt easier. You didn't have to fight as hard to stay focused because the entire environment was pushing you toward goodness. Your schedule changed, your priorities shifted, your heart softened. It felt almost natural to become the person you always wanted to be. But here is the reality that many people ignore. When Ramadan ends, the support system disappears. The environment goes back to normal. The nights become quiet again. The crowds slowly leave the mosques. The reminders fade. And suddenly, you are left alone with the habits you built. That is when the real test begins. Ramadan reveals a powerful truth about you that you should never forget. It proves that you are capable of discipline. It proves that you can control your desires. It proves that you can wake up before dawn even when your body wants to stay in bed. It proves that you can stay away from things that distract you. It proves that you can live with intention instead of drifting through life. For 30 days, you demonstrated that the stronger version of yourself already exists. Ramadan did not create a new you. Ramadan simply revealed who you can be when your soul takes control over your habits. But there is a danger that comes quietly after Ramadan ends. Many people slowly return to the version of themselves they were trying to escape. The same distractions creep back in. The same habits return. The same laziness quietly settles into their routines again. At first, the change is small. One missed prayer in the mosque becomes two. One night of staying up scrolling becomes a new routine. The Quran that was opened every day slowly gathers dust on the shelf. The discipline that felt so natural begins to feel heavy again. And before long, the person who stood in prayer during the last nights of Ramadan feels very far away. This is where most people misunderstand the purpose of Ramadan. They treat it like a spiritual season that comes once a year, like a temporary phase where they become better for a few weeks before returning to their normal life. But Ramadan was never meant to be a temporary version of you. It was meant to expose the permanent version of you. It showed you the person you are capable of becoming if you refuse to let your old habits take control again. Think about how powerful those nights were when you stood alone in prayer. The world was silent. The lights were dim. Your phone was forgotten somewhere in the room, and it was just you and your Lord. In those moments, you felt something deeper than motivation. You felt sincerity. You felt humility. You felt the quiet realization that your life is temporary and that your choices matter. Those moments were not accidents. They were glimpses of the clarity that comes when your soul is in control instead of your distractions. Now imagine something important. Imagine if the person you became during Ramadan did not disappear. Imagine if the discipline you built during those nights carried into the rest of the year. Imagine waking up with the same sense of purpose even when Ramadan is no longer there to push you. Imagine opening the Quran not because the calendar says it is Ramadan, but because your heart has learned to need it. Imagine becoming the kind of person whose faith is not seasonal but consistent. This is the real challenge that begins after Ramadan. It is not about maintaining the same intensity every single day. No human being can live in a constant spiritual high forever. Life has responsibilities, fatigue, and distractions. The real challenge is much simpler but far more powerful. It is about refusing to abandon the progress you made. It is about protecting the habits that transformed you. It is about carrying even a small piece of Ramadan into the rest of your life. The people who truly benefit from Ramadan are not the ones who simply experience emotional nights and beautiful moments during the month. The people who truly benefit are the ones who allow Ramadan to permanently reshape their routines. They are the ones who leave the month with a new identity. They understand that the purpose of Ramadan was not to give them a temporary spiritual experience. The purpose was to train them for the rest of the year. And this is where your story becomes different from the story of many others. Because right now, you are standing at a crossroads. One path leads back to the life you had before Ramadan. It is the path of comfort, distraction, and forgetting the promises you made to yourself during those quiet nights. The other path is more difficult, but it leads somewhere extraordinary. It is the path where Ramadan becomes the turning point of your life instead of just another month that passed by. The question you must ask yourself is not whether Ramadan changed you. It did. The question is whether you will protect that change when the environment is no longer pushing you to be better. Because when the crowds disappear, when the reminders fade, when life returns to its normal rhythm, your sincerity is finally exposed. This is where your true commitment is tested. Many people believe the hardest part of Ramadan is fasting during long days, but the truth is that the hardest part comes after Ramadan ends. Fasting for 30 days is a physical challenge. Remaining consistent for the next 11 months is a spiritual challenge. Anyone can become motivated when the entire world around them is reminding them to be better, but very few people have the strength to remain committed when nobody is watching. And this is the moment where you must decide something important about the kind of person you want to become. Because the person you were during Ramadan was not fake. That was the real you. The patience you showed, the discipline you practiced, the sincerity you felt. That was the version of yourself that your soul has always been capable of becoming. The question now is whether you will allow that version of yourself to survive beyond the month that awakened it. The real test begins now, and the decisions you make in the days immediately after Ramadan will quietly determine whether the transformation you experienced was temporary or life-changing. The real test begins the moment Ramadan ends and life quietly returns to normal. There are no more nightly announcements reminding you of prayer. The mosques slowly become less crowded. The special atmosphere that once surrounded you begins to fade. The world moves on as if nothing happened. But inside you, something did happen. You were given a glimpse of the person you could become if you lived with intention. And now, the responsibility of protecting that transformation belongs entirely to you. This is where sincerity becomes visible. During Ramadan, it is easy to feel motivated because everyone around you is striving. The environment supports you. The reminders are constant. But after Ramadan, the environment changes. Now you must choose discipline without the crowd. You must choose remembrance when distractions are louder. You must choose purpose when nobody is pushing you toward it. This is the quiet battlefield where the strongest believers are formed. The truth is that the end of Ramadan does not mean the end of your spiritual journey. In many ways, it is the beginning of it. Ramadan trained you to slow down, to reflect, to reconnect with your purpose. It taught you that your soul needs nourishment just like your body does. When you stopped feeding your heart with reminders, reflection, and prayer, life began to feel heavy and confusing. But during Ramadan, when you gave your soul attention again, everything started to feel clearer. You remembered what truly matters. What would happen if you protected even a small part of that routine for the rest of the year? Imagine carrying just a few of those habits forward. Not everything at once, but something meaningful. A few quiet minutes with the Quran each day, a moment of reflection before you sleep, a conscious effort to guard your speech and your character. These small actions may seem insignificant compared to the intensity of Ramadan, but they are powerful because they are consistent, and consistency quietly shapes your identity. The danger after Ramadan is not sudden failure, it is gradual neglect. It is when small good habits slowly disappear without you noticing. One day becomes 2 days become weeks, and eventually the person who felt so close to Allah during Ramadan begins to feel distant again. That distance does not happen in one moment, it happens through small choices repeated over time. But the opposite is also true. Closeness to Allah is not built in one dramatic moment. It is built through small acts of sincerity repeated day after day. So when Ramadan ends, do not measure your success by whether you can maintain the exact same intensity. That was never the goal. The real success is whether Ramadan changed your direction, whether it shifted your priorities, whether it planted habits that will quietly grow throughout the year. If Ramadan taught you anything, it is that your heart is capable of transformation. You felt it, you lived it. For 30 days, you proved to yourself that discipline, sincerity, and devotion are not impossible. Now the world will try to pull you back into the noise. Your phone will demand your attention again. Your routines will fill your schedule again. Life will move quickly, and it will be easy to forget the promises you made during those quiet nights. But remember something powerful. The version of you that existed in Ramadan is still inside you. That person did not disappear when the month ended. That person is waiting for you to continue the journey, and one day, when the next Ramadan arrives, you will look back at the year that passed. You will either see a year where you slowly drifted back into old habits, or you will see a year where Ramadan became the turning point of your life. A year where the discipline you learned became your new normal. A year where the connection you built did not fade, but quietly grew stronger. The real test begins after Ramadan. And the question is simple but powerful. Will Ramadan be just a memory? Or will it be the moment your life truly changed?